Hi everybody, how you doing? So before I process these cases, right, I process to the wax. I don't process on the Mastercast. What I try to do is smooth things out as much as possible, just so I don't have to do too much polishing on the intaglio when it comes to the acrylic. And you see how it's pretty close to where it needs to be, but there's still some areas that are kind of problematic. These areas right here, I don't generally worry about too much because they're pretty easy to polish afterwards. But the areas when it comes to right next to the abutments, at times are difficult to maneuver because you don't want to mess around too much around around the actual interface. So a lot of times we'll use something like this after we process, just so it just kind of cleans up the acrylic, but it doesn't mess up the metal. I also have a burr that's like this. It's a plastic burr, so it will cut the acrylic, but it won't cut the metal. But what I try to do beforehand, when I get a situation like this, when I'm trying to round stuff out, a lot of times we'll start burnishing with just a hand instrument, just to kind of get a nice smooth wax surface if I can. Okay, something like that. And a little bit more right here, just burnishing it more than scraping. Okay, but I do have few little divots and few scratches that I want to address before I will start processing things. And if you look at this case is not ideal. I mean, on the interior, it's not horrible, but if you look on this area right here, you see where the teeth are, you see where the ridge is. Okay, so as far as function, this will work just fine because it's implant supported, and we're not affecting the neutral zone because the lowest part of the vestibule, that's where the buccal area is. So we're within model analysis regions, well, at least in my opinion. But the problem is here is the shelf. That's going to be a foot trap. So we need to try to make this as cleansable as possible for this patient. So what I try to do is just round these corners up as much as possible. And for that, I use something like this. It's just a goat hair brush. I use it usually just to clean up the teeth. See right there? Just cleans the wax off the teeth very well. Right there. But in situations where I'm dealing with hybrids, if you go on lower RPMs, probably around 5,000, I'm controlling this with my knee, so I can go slowly. And just like this, you can smooth out and kind of almost polish this wax. Now, obviously, this is just the beginning portion of things, because once the case is processed, I will be finishing up all of these things with acrylic polishers and stuff. But as much as I can do with this little brush, in my opinion, the better, because I don't want to be overdoing things when it comes to... I want to be about 90% there when I do this. So round these corners up so it's nice and easy to wash through. I don't want to have any kind of ledges to be either convex or flat. I don't want it to be concave like it is right here. So I need to work on this a little bit. A little bit more. I'll leave this like this for now. Okay. So this is what I wanted to show you guys. You see how this is smoothing it out? A little bit more right here maybe. Right there. Just take those little tiny dots right out. Okay, and then you just put it back on the Mastercast. And you see if you want it to be, from what I understand, from what I've learned over the years, you want it to be close to the tissue, but you don't want to be too over the tissue. You want it just enough to where you can still get underneath there and clean it. If you have too much pressure, it's also not great because, you know, you still can't clean very well under it. But if you have too little, then the food will just start trapping under there and just always impacting food. So somewhere in the middle is where you want to be. Not too close, not too far away. Unless you're dealing with a lower where you can do like a high water. But there's some also issues associated with that. So I hope this helps, okay?